in the Abbey Hotel, Ballyvourna, on the 11th of June, the year 2004, at Johnny Horgan's retirement party. Johnny worked for years in Dairygold, Ballyclaw, and in Clongrahad Co-op. So I'll ask Johnny now about when he started with the Co-op many years ago. Johnny, you started in 1956
1956. 1956, yes.
in Carrigan,
In Carrigan as a fireman.
and you stayed in Carrigan for a year and a half, and then you came to Clondrahad.
That's right, yeah.
And tell what you
I was-
remember, though.
In Clondrahad, I was at Butter from 1958 to 19... Between Butter and out along from 1958 to 1963. And in 63 I started at the milk.
And when you started milking in 63, you worked in the mill as well.
I did, yeah. And 72 to 2001 I was collecting bulk milk.
Yeah.
I was the first to start at the bulk milk.
And when you started bulk milk, you weren't in this area at all. You got a big area.
I did. I went Killamatra, Toonsbridge, part of Macomb, Mill Street, Clondrahad, Ballyvourna, Cooley, and Allen's Bridge in Kinturk, Bantier.
But then, when bulk tanks got more plentiful, you weren't in this area at all. We had Matty Toomey in this area. You were collecting other areas at that time. We'll say when bulk tanks got more plentiful.
Yeah, I was changed on. I was cutting him out all the time, like until I finally finished up in Ballyvourna and Cooley.
Yeah. And when you came to Ballyvourna and Cooley, that was in the late 80s, was it?
Sorry, what, yeah.
Yeah, 80. Pat Kelleher is the transport manager with Dairygold. So I will now ask Pat about Johnny's time when Johnny was with Ballyclaw and with Clondrahad Co-op in the start, and then with Dairygold.
Johnny started in Carrigan branch as a fireman in 1956. Johnny was just 16 years of age at the time, and Johnny gave a year and a half in Carrigan, a branch creamery, and that entailed putting up steam, separating. The milk had to be separated at that stage, and the skim went back to the farmers. So, I mean, as time moved on, that process stopped. In 58, Johnny moved to Clondrahad, where he worked in the butter department. That entailed weighing the butter and covering the timber boxes. In the early 60s, Johnny had a serious accident, which entailed Johnny losing 2 fingers. And Johnny was out of work at that stage for a year and a half. But knowing Johnny, compensation wasn't the thing of the day at the time, and Johnny was never one with that kind of an attitude. In 61, 62, Johnny returned to work. He was grinding grain for farmers and doing a small bit of driving. And in 63, he went driving full time. The driving at that stage entailed collecting milk from the branches, bringing the milk into the central in Clondrahad for pasteurisation, and haul it to Cadbury's in Rathmore and to Ballyclaw and Mallow. At that stage, milk was seasonal, and from around November on, when the milk got slack, Johnny was engaged in drawing fertiliser from Cork. And at that stage, there was no forklifts, no piggybacks, and it entailed an awful lot of manual handling. Drawing it out, bag it into the store, and in the springtime, it had to be reloaded and delivered out, and again bagged off. In 73, with the advent of bulk milk, Johnny was the first driver in the Clondrahad area to go at bulk milk. Bulk tanks were very scarce at that stage in the Clondrahad area. So Johnny covered Clondrahad. He had a call in Ballingeary, Tirgea, Macomb, Rasheen, Drishan in Mill Street. He'd calls in between Kentuck and Ellensbridge and in Bantier. Johnny stayed at that, and as the bulk tanks developed, there was more tanks in each area. So in '87, when the bulk system was changed, Johnny got the Ballymakeera Coulee, and he was there until he retired in December 2003.
When you watch RTE, they have Sean Bond Brannock. But here in Ballyvona and Macroom, we have our own Sean Bond. We have Sean White. Sean was manager in Clondrohid for many years. So I'll ask Sean now his memories of Johnny and the start of his time. Okay, Sean. It's all
Thank you,
yours.
thank you, thank you. Mr. Chairman, my memories of Johnny are very, very pleasant. I came to Clondrohid in 1961. Johnny started his work in 1956, and about 2 years later, there was a young lass came from Tipperary, and Johnny was eyeing her upside down and inside out. And in the meantime, they got a new butter machine. And Jim Leahy was the manager of the creamery at the time. And this day, anyway, unfortunately, they were packing butter anyway, and didn't Johnny stick his hand into the butter machine and took off a piece of his hand. And Jim Leahy came out to him and he said, "Johnny, what were you doing? Were you eyeing the girl?" he said, "or were you doing your job?" So that was the start of Johnny and his finger inside in the butter machine. They found the piece of the finger anyway, but they couldn't put it back on. But that was the first episode that my wife had of Johnny, and I suppose I was lucky that Johnny didn't take her from me, but Johnny fared out better after. That was in 1959, and as I said then, I worked with Johnny from 1961 to 1978, and Johnny was a real diligent, honest worker. I must say that any job that he was asked to do, he did it to the best of his ability. He was able and willing and no problem to do anything. I left in 1978 and I hadn't much recourse to Johnny from that on, but I know that he served both Clondrohid, Ballyclaw and Dairygold 110% and gave everything. I wish Johnny many years of happiness in his retirement. It's great to see that he has his family with him here tonight. Unfortunately, I suppose his wife passed away recently, and that's a sad occasion for Johnny. But still, I wish him every happiness and good luck and many, many years of retirement and good health for the future. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Sean. Now, I'm going to go to the family and ask the family, Johnny's family, they will say something of their. Well, ask Maura first. Maura, you surely have some story or something about your dad. And don't be shaking your head there. No, you're not. Come on. And come on, you'll have something anyway.
Honestly.
What about Catty? Catty, listen, you're bound to have some story about dad, and come on, you'll have something.
Well, just the years going in the lorry and just out all the time and just going to all the farmers and just having a great time. I mean, we used to go to, we used to just travel around, and it was great times. I mean, Dad got on with everyone, and we're all so very proud of him, So.
Fine, thanks, Catty. No, this man here is Paddy Lynch. So, I mean, let's ask Paddy, when did he get to know the Horgans?
It was a long time ago now since I got to know him, because when I started going out with his daughter first, of course, I suppose Johnny was a bit afraid of me or whatever. That'd be more like it. I was probably more afraid of him, but he accepted me into the family, and I'm very grateful to him for everything, and he's a very nice man, and that's all. No.
Now we'll come to Timmy. Timmy, you're bound to have some. Timmy, you're the eldest of the family, aren't you?
Yeah, the eldest.
You're, I suppose, spoiled.
Not really, no. Well, I'd say basically go out in the lorry with him, and basically he taught me how to drive and drive the lorry as well. So kind of basically just he's a great father, like, and we had great years out in the lorry, meeting nice people on the parish and going from farmer to farmer and stopping off for another cup of tea here and there. So that's about it, really. So.
Good man, thanks. So, Shinna Willis. Mara, you're bound to have some spin in the lorry as well. Well, you were not always at home.
Yeah, so we all went in the lorry. It was good crack. That's about
All the
it.
farmers had tea in the morning.
Yeah, it was good crack. He worked hard, like, put in a lot of hard work there. So, and everybody likes Daddy. Gets on with everybody and he's a nice man. So,
Surely he was called to me at 8 o'clock in the morning. You should be up at 8 o'clock in the morning.
yeah.
No, he got me up at 5:30 for his breakfast. Yeah. Me, I used to get up to make his breakfast in the morning and he'd get me out of the bed and God, it was early mornings to be up to you for 6 o'clock.
They say early to bed and early to rise makes a man wealthy, healthy and wise. John, you're the youngest of the family. Are you the pit?
Yeah,
You used to go on the lorry.
yeah, all the time.
You used indeed, I remember you calling to me in the morning.
Having the tea above.
That's right, yeah. And John, it come out and put on the pipe and have everything ready for his dad when he be out of the lorry.
It is true, yeah.
So, you'll never be family though.
No,
So, that's Johnny's family now. So, I think we've spoken to everybody and everyone have nothing but prayers for Johnny. And he was one of the finest people that ever came into the yard. So, Chinny will.
They're getting on and treat them to late nights and sing a few songs. We'll talk of the day and life in the town. There's so much to tell them. The days fly around. This is my homeland, the place I was born in. No matter where I go, it's in my soul. My feet may wander a thousand places, but my heart will lead me back home to my living and then tomorrow we take a walk down to St. Mary's, to a sheltered spot. We'll kneel and pray there for the ones who have gone, and hope that they're proud of their wandering son. This is my homeland, the place I was born in. No matter where I go, it's in my soul. My feet may wander a thousand places, but my heart will lead me back home to my lonely God. This is my homeland, the place I was born in. No matter where I go, it's in my soul. My feet may wander a thousand places, but my heart will lead me back home to my lonely God. to maideny gone. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
This is Dan Lucy over there, who started in Clonroad longer than Johnny Horgan in 1944 and worked until 1991. And he's still hale and hearty and one of the best Bellavorney servants that was ever there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're all collected here tonight to make a presentation to a man that worked in this parish for many years, a man being Johnny Horgan. Johnny was one of the finest people, I suppose, that could come into any yard. He collected milk from every single one, well, not I suppose everyone that's here tonight, but from the most of the people. And if there was ever a problem with washing a tank and anything, it was always done. So there are people here that are years older than I am. So we will call on a couple of them to say a few words. We'll start first with Sean White, because Sean worked with Johnny, I think, before any other one inside this hall anyway tonight. So Sean, if you will come up and say a few words about your time working with Johnny.
Mr. Chairman, Reverend Fathers, I suppose I call the rest of you friends because I know that most of the people that are here in the hall. I suppose I know Johnny since 1961. I came to Clonroad in 1961, but Johnny was working 5 years previous to that. Johnny started in 1956 working in Clonroad. He was a young garçon at the time, and Jim Leahy was the manager of the creamery at the time, and there was a young lady from Tipperary came there as buttermaker in 1959, and they also got a new packing machine there the same year. So there was a lot of excitement between the young buttermaker and the machine. I don't know which was the most. But anyway, Johnny had an eye for the young buttermaker, and this day he was packing butter into the new machine, and lo and behold, he put his hand into the machine and his finger was chopped off. The manager wasn't very, was a bit disgusted to see that happening, and he went out to Johnny and he said, "Johnny, what were you doing?" And Johnny said, "It slipped in, Mr. Leahy, it slipped in. I know what you were doing, you were watching the buttermaker." So that was 1959, 1961, I arrived in the scene then, and Johnny had other interests at that stage. I suppose good for me. He was after taking his eye off the buttermaker, and I fell in for the buttermaker, and luckily enough, I didn't put my hand into the machine, and I have my 10 fingers altogether, even that I wasn't much good tonight. So that was my first experience with Johnny. The most of the people that started with Johnny that time in 1956, I think there is one particular man here tonight that started long before Johnny, and it is great to see that he is in such marvellous health tonight. That's Dan Lucy. Dan started in 1944 and worked until 1991. Johnny started in 56 and worked until the present time. So, between the two of them, they have a way over 100 years loyal service given to the society. Matty Toomey is another man that was here tonight. and he started in 1958. So I think most of the other people that were there in that year, the 50s, are gone to their eternal reward, and may God rest their souls. Johnny, I must say, was willing and able to do anything. Any job that he got in Clondrohid between 1961 and 1978, while I was manager in Clondrohid Co-op, he did it with great diligence, without a crib or a growl, or not like today, where he never called in the union or he did nothing. He was a really loyal and dedicated servant. And as the chairman said, that is proof tonight of the crowd that are here, and the way he was held in such high esteem by the farmers, because he started, I think he was one of the first drivers in Clondrohid to collect bulk milk. I'm not 100% certain of that, but I think he was, and I think he did it, as the chairman has said, with the utmost respect for both the customer and his employer. Johnny married a girl in 1969, as far as I'm aware, and unfortunately she passed away recently, and it is very sad tonight that she is not here, because it would have made this evening much more pleasant and much more, but God rest her soul. I left Clondrohid in 78, and from that on then I had very little contact with Johnny until I suppose I retired, and he was in semi-retirement, and I visited him a few times when he had surgery. But I want to finish and say that I wish Johnny and his family every happiness and health, and that he will enjoy his retirement for many, many years. It is a great job to be retired. I am enjoying it anyway. I think it's the best job I ever had. So I'm sure Johnny will enjoy it just as well, and I would like to thank him on my own behalf as manager of Clondrohid and of manager of Ballyclondy, going after that as a senior. Thank him for his service and his workmanship, and for all he did for the farmers and for everybody in the locality. Thank you very much, Johnny, and I wish you very good luck.
Thank you, Sean. It's no wonder Sean is enjoying his retirement. He's just after coming back from the Canaries. Now, the next person we will call on to say a few words is Johnny's transport manager, Pat Kelleher.
Reverend Fathers, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure very few of you came here to listen to me tonight, because whatever hope I'd have of making a living, I certainly wouldn't make it give you a speech. I think Sean has already covered Johnny's career, but I suppose I might as well go back to the 70s. I started in Clondrohid in the 70s, and at that stage, Johnny was driving a few years. Johnny at that stage was a bit older than myself, but I mean he got the name at that stage of Gary Powers, and I think Gary Powers was the first man into space. In the early 70s, Johnny was collecting milk from the branches, drawing it to Clondrohid, where the milk was pasteurised, standardised, and delivered to Cadbury's in Rathmore and Tomato. That was a seasonal job, because milk was very seasonal at that stage. There was no talk of winter milk schemes or winter milk. But once September came, Johnny hadn't enough to do. He was full of action. So at that stage, Johnny always had to be the first one to be taken off the milk. When time moved on in the 70s, Johnny was the first driver in Clondrohid to collect bulk milk. Tanks were scarce, and there was very few bulk tanks in the Clondrohid area at that stage. So Johnny collected milk all over Clondrohid, Tiergea, Roisin, Macrome, Mill Street, and as far as Ellen's Bridge. And according as the time moved on, and tanks became more plentiful, Johnny came back more into the Clondroad area. And I think it was in '87, Johnny took up milk collection on a permanent basis in the Ballymakeera and Cooley area. And since then, he has been there. He's been there until the day he retired. I suppose, if thinking about Johnny, I remember about 3 years ago, there was a slight mishap in some farmer's yard in Ballymakeera. The man came to me about it, and I was aware that Johnny had glasses at the time, and Johnny didn't want to wear them. But as soon as I mentioned it to the farmer, he said, forget about it. And I think that tells the high esteem in which Johnny was held in around Ballymakeera. Never once did I get a complaint about him. And as far as looking at Johnny from a family point of view, Johnny's wife was sick at different stages. There was no such thing as getting a pain in his back or anything like that. Johnny just went out, and he just went out. He never claimed sick pay or anything like that. So I think that the crowd that's here tonight shows the high esteem in which Johnny was held. And I mean, from my dealings with him, whether you wanted him to work his day off, anything was never any problem. So I think I have very little more to say, only to thank the organisers for inviting me here and to wish Johnny the best of health and happiness. Thank you.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will call on Father O'Brien. He was here in Ballyvoon as a curate, and now he's here as a parish priest.
I'd like to say it's great to, I know I'm sort of sizing up the group that's here, and I know a lot of you have worked, some of you worked in Kilnamatra Creamery, some of you worked in Clondrohid. The Ballyclaw Dairy Gold kind of organisation has been kind of, in a way, part in everywhere I have been since 1974. Kilnamatra, here, Buttevant, Mallow, and here again. And again, like, I think a lot of you here tonight have given great service to various communities. And John Horgan, I know, has been, I suppose I would say, a great servant in ways of the farmers, and a man who was welcome in every farmer's yard. And that's something to be... And a man who did his job well. And I suppose a man who got on with people and who did his job well, and that's something to be thankful for. I'm delighted to see such a great crowd here, and that all of you have come here tonight to show your appreciation of him, the fact that he and you, most of you, have been part of the one organisation, kind of working together for so many years. And I think it's always nice that somebody is appreciated. Sometimes they say this awful saying, eating bread and drunk milk, you're soon forgotten. But again, that I'm glad so many have come tonight as we pay tribute to John, and we all, I suppose, hope and pray that he will enjoy his retirement. And I know that many, many people are very, very thankful to him. And I'd like to, again, support and re-echo that thanks. And again, to say thanks to a lot of Dairygold, Ballyclaw, Clondrohid, Kilnamatra, Ballyvourna employees of the organisation. And Guim Gachrahorif Gileir.
Now, I think the night shouldn't pass. Sean White just mentioned it there. Johnny got a bad blow this year when Kathleen died. And, like, this would have been held probably 2 months sooner. So, like, in fairness, Johnny is pulling up now and everything is straightening out again. So then we said we will hold it tonight. So now, if Johnny would come up And we will present him with this telefiche. I asked, Johnny, you come up. There's a few people I must thank. Perhaps I had that list somewhere and I surely have it lost. I want to thank the people I approached for to organise tonight. And that was Dan Hallisey, Johnny Murray, Danjo McSweeney, Connie Deneen, Paddy Murphy, Diarmid Ford, Tom Cockery, Diarmid O'Connell, and Connie Horgan. They were the people that went around to farmers' yards, and there was no problem in the wide world with anybody. We collected €2,170. And that has covered the Abbey, the band, the television, and we have €1,070 inside this envelope. So I would like to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart for that. You were all very, very good. So now I will present on behalf of the milk suppliers and milk suppliers in the past. We also called the people that were gone out of milk for a few years. And everyone was very flahuluk. So now, Johnny, shut out and don't spend it all in the one day. And I hope you will sit and relax in front of this television for many, many years to come. Yourself and your family. So, Shinaville, I hope you will enjoy the rest of the night. And thanks very much, everybody, for coming.